Josh Allen just got paid big boy money after a breakout season. So what lies ahead for the Bills? We're going to go over that today. This is the Bills Deep Dive. We're going to break down the roster, going to give you my projected starters for said roster, and then I'm going to give you my prediction for how they will do in the 2021 NFL season. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you appreciate the content. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse down there. If you're looking for fantasy, yes, fantasy deals. If you like playing a little bit money in El Fantasy, there will be an ad for you later, so stay tuned. Let's go ahead, get into the nitty gritty. I already have the roster up. So the Bills, they were kind of good last year. As a Dolphins fan, it sucks to say, but they were kind of good. At least it wasn't the Patriots, right? But what Brian DeBall kind of had these guys doing last season, at least in terms of what Josh Allen, he stuck to what Josh Allen was typically effective at. He kind of strayed away from the middle of the field, at least when it came to passes on like 7, 10, 15 yards there in the middle. He kind of stayed away from that, and he really stuck to these long vertical routes that take a bit of time to develop. And outside of that, like, it was either that or Josh Allen, man, he was dumping the ball off a lot underneath, and he has wonderful targets to do so in Cole Beasley. Dawson Knox, even like Stephon Diggs, man, one of the best route runners in the game, dude. He had a banger of a season. Not enough people talk about Diggs as one of the best wide receivers in the league, and I think there's an argument to be had there. I think he is up there. But the question is, with how big a step Josh Allen made last year, will there be a regression? And if so, what will it look like? And yes, I firmly believe Josh Allen will not be nearly as good as we saw last year. Just the step forward he took was just simply, it was too much. It was too big. It was, wow, essentially. And it's just, I don't see him being able to replicate that type of production, especially considering that he went from one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the league, at least that being his worst trait, to he was in the top 5 in catchable throws. That I think that'll fall down some. I'm not saying he didn't improve in accuracy. Obviously he did. But I think that might kind of middle out. He might be in the top 10, maybe top 12 in that area. But I don't think he'll be in the top 5 when it comes to that. So I think it's only natural. I mean, remember, man, just look at Baker Mayfield. He looked like a stud in the making after his rookie season and then that sophomore slump. Although you could kind of blame Freddie Kitchens. Lamar Jackson, after an MVP season, we saw a fall off. We saw regression. I think it's only natural. I think it's going to happen that way. Not to say, oh, no, he's not a franchise quarterback. Obviously, he's a franchise quarterback. I'm just saying, don't have your hopes up there. While Josh Allen's good, I don't think he's necessarily among the elite just yet. Then again, he comes out and he does perform that way. I'm a believer. Maybe it's my Dolphin bias showing. Does it mean I think the Bills are going to do bad? No, obviously not. This team is very good. Let's talk about the receivers for a minute, because Gabriel Davis came in and stepped up when John Brown got hurt. Davis, very dangerous long field threat. Cole Beasley, one of the most reliable slot receivers in the league. And they add Emmanuel Sanders to that mix. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, going a bit further on the roster, it really sounds like Jake Kumaro is making a case to be on this roster. Sounds like he's currently floating between being the wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 there with Isaiah McKenzie. And then you got Isaiah Hodgins, who was a guy I really liked out of Oregon State. Maybe wide receiver 6 or 7 at that point. I don't think they keep 7 wide receivers on the roster. So we'll see about that. Marquez Stevenson's there. He's a wonderful deep threat as well. So it'll be interesting to see who they keep, because right now it's sounding like definitely McKenzie, definitely Kumaro. So who will be the other guy they keep then? Maybe they keep two guys, perhaps. Dawson Knox, he's a fine tight end. I don't think he's necessarily he's not elite. I think he's solid, above average. But he was working out with George Kittle this offseason and some of the other elite tight ends in the league. So maybe that's something to watch out for, man. Maybe he kind of has this breakout. I like Jacob Hollister a lot as kind of tight end two here. He's got a lot of receiving upside. Tommy Sweeney's been a guy that's been around for what feels like forever. But say what feels like forever, it's probably like maybe 2-3 years. But I think make or break what's going to be make or break for this team is, can they run the ball efficiently and effectively to continue to use the play action to kind of open up things for them, and that is going to lie on the offensive line. Luckily, they bring back Dion Dawkins, they bring back Darrell Williams, they bring back Mitch Morris, and those are easily the three best offensive linemen. However, what the Bills do when they run the ball, they love to pound them A gaps. That's just where a majority of their runs, they went. So they're going to need the guards to step up. John, Mr. I always butcher your last name, Feliciano. I should have listened to it before I got on. It is what it is. We're already here. But he was hurt last year. So was Cody Ford. Combined, they missed 13 games. They're going to need them healthy. Like Brian Winters came in, it was okay, but he's not on the roster anymore. If anything, I think talking about butchering last names, here it comes. Boker? Anyway, I think he really can contend for the right guard spot for Cody Ford's job. Because let's be honest, Cody Ford, he's been struggling since coming into the league, starting there at right tackle, getting kicked inside of the interior where I thought he should have started to begin with. He's just been struggling. So I think after a pretty solid year last year, I think there may be a case to be made that he could take over or win the starting job. Doesn't sound like he will initially out of camp, but if Ford struggles or gets hurt, man, I feel good about Ike. I feel good about him coming in and helping. Just speaking about a little bit about the rest of the offensive line, I like the additions of Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle. I think those are guys that are going to be good depth guys, and Brown, I think, eventually could be a very good starter. And they put him here at right tackle, but he was actually, I think, taking left tackle snaps because both Williams and Dawkins were out thus far in training camp. So I'm pretty sure it was Spencer Brown taking left tackle snaps while Doyle was taking right tackle snaps. But I like Jack Anderson a ton. The dude's a phone booth, but he's fleet of foot, man. He played in an air raid offense, does a good job of getting to the second level. Think he's a guy that's going to stick around. Bobby Hart is whatever. He ain't that good. We don't need to talk about him. Forrest Lamp, kind of in the same ballpark, but these are kind of essentially, for all intents and purposes, they're guys that have been in the league for now, 4 or 5 years. So I don't want to say reliable veterans, but veterans. Let's just call them that. But I feel good if one person goes down on the line about the Bills doing a good job of maybe potentially filling in for that whoever goes down. If more than one injury happens, though, I think it kind of gets icy. So go into the running game because, like I said, the running game is a big part. Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, they're probably going to be – this is going to be the bulk of the community right here, the running back community. This is a back by committee. I keep saying committee. But neither one of them, I think, really did a good job last year in terms of separating between the two, you know. None of them made a good case to be the lead shareholder in the backfield there. Sounds like Moss is having a banger camp. Moss was my favorite run back coming out of the 2022 or 2020 draft. So I'm hoping he takes that next step up. I think his receiving chops are a bit better than Singletary. It's just Singletary got all the opportunities to do that. But I think their quality, I think they're fine in that regard. Getting the play action started is going to be, getting the run game started to get the play action going. It's going to be huge, not only for Josh Allen, but this whole offense. Matt Breida, he's there. He's the home run threat. They're going to keep another guy. I like Antonio Williams. He's having a good camp. He saw some action last year with the Bills. I think they keep him over like a Tywan Jones. So I feel good about the offense. Let's take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest and the best place to go play fantasy football for big cash prizes. Ooh, wee. And let me tell you, Underdog, they got you covered. All you have to do is draft. No need to worry about injuries, waivers, or lineups. Underdog, they got you covered. So go online or use the app, which is pretty slick, and just draft a season-long best ball team, and they take care of the rest. No in-season management required. And they're willing to give you $25 when you sign up, so you can take a shot in their $1 million fantasy football tournament, or you can play in some other best ball leagues, or even make prop bets. Now you get that free $25 on Underdog when you use the promo code BROSCHMO. It's free to sign up, so use promo code BROSCHMO. Bam, you get your $25 once you make your first deposit. So drop a buck in there, bam, you got $26. You big spender, y'all baller. But go ahead, support Underdog. It helps me out. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And if you're looking for more fantasy content from me, check me out on TikTok at BroSchmo. The link's in the description below. Talking about the defense. Yes, the Leslie Frazier-led defense here. It's good. It's a base 4-3. They give a lot of they have a lot of cover 3, a lot of quarters. What Frazier likes to do here is he doesn't normally blitz, but when he does, he's like extremely efficient. I think he was 6th in terms of pressure rate when bringing an extra pressure. And he does a good job of just getting, like his linebackers last year, just the starting linebackers, and Matt Milano, Tremaine Emmons, and AJ Klein, who are all back this year, by the way. When he brought those guys in as an extra pass rusher, they generate 58 pressures, 11 sacks. Looking at the top 3 guys he sent from the secondary, being Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, and Jordan Poyer. He brought those guys in 73 times last year. They generate 13 pressures, 5 sacks. He gets pressure when he wants to blitz, but that's not his MO. He likes, for the most part, to rely on his front 4 to get pressure all by themselves. And Jerry Hughes, man, the man is still outputting banger numbers despite being, I think he's 33 in the next couple of months. He's still a beast, but I like that they started to look toward the future, and they kind of double dip. Well, they did double dip in the draft, getting Gregory Rousseau, who also has some interior potential. Maybe a guy that they'll use on 3rd and longs to be an interior pass rusher with Ed Oliver. But they brought in Rousseau. They brought in Carlos Boogie freaking Basham. I was a fan of his. I often had him going there at the end of the first round. Ends up getting picked up late second. Steal. Just an utter steal. But yeah, I mean, Hughes, he's up there in years. Mario Addison, he's starting to get to a point in his career where he's more suitable to be just a rotation player. He's going to be 34 in a couple of months. So there's that. AJ Epinesa, he flashed at parts last season, but I like that they looked to the future for pass rush, though I think they're fine with what they have currently. Now, going to the interior, not as great. Ed Oliver, easily their best interior pass rusher, but Harrison Phillips, Vernon Butler, they're not good pass disruptors. They just aren't. I know that they get Lotu Lele back this season after opting out last year. He's never been a pass disruptor his whole career. So that's kind of like, it is what it is. They're really going to have to heavily rely on someone stepping up on the interior next to Ed Oliver. Honestly, that could be Gregory Rousseau. Realistically, that could be the case. Now, talking about the run defense. Run defense, it is not so good. Like, constantly, ball carriers were getting to the second level on the Bills. And they didn't really do anything to really address that. Like, they're probably their best run defender, their best run stuffer, at least in terms of last season. It was actually Justin Zimmer, who's kind of been this journeyman throughout his very young career, and he only had like 338 snaps. Star, he's an okay run defender. He opted out. We talked about him opting out last year, but even then, it's like I don't feel great about that. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate Zimmer in all of this. Like Vernon Butler, I don't know why he's even still on the roster. He's just not good. Harrison Phillips is what it is. Like, I think he's a solid rotation guy, a solid depth guy, but he's just not the guy. Now, I kind of already talked about the linebackers a little bit, and there's not much depth to it. Like, just when looking at it at first glance, there's not really much depth to the linebacker position. Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, they're going to be good. They're going to be solid. They got a good starting group there. And then going to the secondary, talking about this might be the best position group on the defense. Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in all of football. Jordan Poyer, I almost said Micah Parsons. I'm still in 2021 draft mode. Micah Hyde, one of the most underrated safety duos in all of football. Taron Johnson's going to be man in the slot again. He's kind of whatever, he's fine enough. But I thought there would have been more of at least a battle for the cornerback 2 spot this in training camp, and that just hasn't been the case. I really thought Dane Jackson had a good shot at maybe replacing Levi Wallace, but Levi Wallace, he's gotten all the first team snaps. I mean, both are solid options, to be honest. Like Jackson, he's coming into his second year, but he really proved to be more of a playmaker, at least in terms of his ball skills, making plays on the ball, than Wallace. But both are fine. I did talk about how there really is no one challenging for the nickel. I think Tyreek Thompson, they got him listed here as a free safety, but I think ideally he's a slot in the NFL. Like, let's take a look at this, because they don't even. Come on, ESPN. Slot corner is a starting position in today's NFL. Like, I don't. Neal's more of a special teamer, but I think it's gonna be. I think Thompson. He's going to be a practice squad guy. I don't know why I bring him up, but I just remember him from the draft where I was like, he's probably slot only. In terms of the depth at corner, after Dane Jackson, it's not great. They got a couple of rookies in Rashad Wildgoose, who actually, scheme-wise, is coming into something very similar to what they ran there at Wisconsin, so that's really good. He's got some good athletic upside. Elijah Griffin out of USC, he's not half bad, so like the defense looks good. I do think they're going to get ran on. That's really how you're going to beat this team, trying to establish the run and maybe catch them sleeping, hitting them with some play action. But, I mean, that offense, literally, if like Josh Allen, even if he regresses, still, I imagine he's going to be fantastic. It's still a move in the right direction. Keep in mind, every year he was like developing, and then just banger year. Like, he took these small baby steps and then just suddenly hopped on a trampoline and took this massive jump. So that's why I'm expecting regression, but it should still be better than what we saw in years 1 and 2. So I'm feeling really good about this roster. Let's go ahead and take a look at my projected stars. Now, I do this based on who I think is going to see the field the most. Who's going to get the most snaps? I could care less about base packages. Tell me who's going to be on the field the most. Starting with the offense, I got Josh Allen, Zach Moss. I'm really rooting for him. I'm not going to lie. This is a bit of a biased pick. Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, though Emmanuel Sanders will get his, and Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, Deion Dawkins. I got John Feliciano, Mitch Morris, Cody Ford, and Darrell Williams. On to the defense. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Ed Oliver. I think Harrison Phillips will probably end up being the guy that gets the most snaps there on the interior next to Oliver. Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, Taron Johnson, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. So really, we're looking at basically the exact same starting core from last year, probably outside of Gabriel Davis. So, yeah, and that team was extremely good last year. So let's go ahead and give you my predictions. I have the Bills going a nice 12-5, winning the division. Winning the division. And I mean, I think I only have, 3 teams left after this? So, yeah, essentially they're like 29 in my, or I guess they would be 4th in my power rankings. So, yeah, I think the Bills are a very good squad that is going to do very good things. They're lucky that their strength of schedule is not that strong. I mean, having to face the parts of the NFC least in Washington. No, they got to have more than Washington, right? No, apparently not. But having to face the AFC or NFC South, Atlanta, I think they might be a team that really regresses. Carolina, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but between Carolina, the Saints, and the Panthers, I think Bills are better than all those squads. You will see that it's like, well, if you think they're better than those squads, you got the Saints beating the Bills. Well, that's because I got y'all beating the Bucks in a game, which I don't think that'll happen. So, yeah, fight me, I guess. Yeah, I think winning the division shouldn't be a problem. I mean, I feel like the Bills get kind of lucky where they have to face the Texans and the Jags, while the Colts, unfortunately, by the time that the Bills face the Colts, they probably get Carson Wentz back. Is what it is, whatever. But Jaguars, Texans shouldn't be too bad. Got the Chiefs on the schedule. That's going to be a fun game to watch. Can't wait to see that one. But, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated. Much obliged. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.